this morning's class. I'm going to start this morning's class in a reclining position. So we're going to lie on our back with our knees bent and our feet upon the floor. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, feel free to go in the cupboard, Sam. There's a blanket, or grab one of those bolsters to the left. I'll get one actually for that door as well. It is really cold in here, isn't it? Just grab one for your mum as well. Yeah. Okay, on. I'm just going to pop that. That's right, I'll do it. Okay. And we've blocked all the cold entrances. So we're going to be lying on our backs with our knees bent and our feet upon the floor. So what I'd like you to do is, if you want to put something behind the back of your head, like a cushion or a blanket, you might want to pop something that's soft underneath. And then I'd like you to just rest your hands against your lower abdominal area. So if possible, allow your elbows to remain on the floor, and the hands can rest either on the front of the abdomen or maybe just around the sides of the abdomen, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Then close your eyes if that feels appropriate, or allowing your eyes to remain open and just gently staring or gazing up towards the ceiling above you. And just taking a few moments just to allow yourself to connect with the sensation of the body resting on the floor, the back of the head resting on the floor or any support that you've put underneath it, and the soles of your feet, that connection with the earth. Now, for some people, they might prefer to take their feet a little bit wider and let their knees gently fall together, so just the thighs are touching. That can work a little bit better for some people's lower backs, particularly maybe if you've got a bit of a tight lower or mid back today. And then what I'd like you to start to do is just begin to direct your breath in the direction of the lower part of your lungs. And just noticing as you're breathing in and as you're breathing out, how the abdomen gently rises and falls. There's just this sense of resting the hands against that abdominal area. And noticing as you breathe in, there's a slight sense of swelling or lifting underneath the hands. And as you breathe out, there's a slight sense of the abdominal area and the hands almost drifting back towards the earth again. Slight swelling and contracting. We're going to keep the hands where they are, but what I'd like you to do is, if you brought your knees and your thighs together, bring them back so they're separated. So knees are underneath your sort of ankle joints as much as possible. And what we're going to start to do is start to gently tilt the pelvis up towards the ceiling. So you're just going to slightly lift your buttocks off the floor, and then lower the buttocks back onto the floor, tilt the pelvis away from you. So as though you're pushing the lower back into the floor, and you might feel a little bit of an arch in your lower back as you do that. So we're going to come back to our neutral position and then start to lift the tailbone slightly. So you're lifting the glutes just a little bit off the floor, and then placing the glutes back down and tilting the pelvis in the opposite way. So you end up pushing the tailbone gently into the floor. So I want you to just do that pelvic tilting a few times, just exploring how that feels. Noticing that subtle movement of the pelvis but it can sometimes feel like there's quite a lot happening in that lower back region, this tilting action. And then what you might even want to do here is coordinate your breath. So as you inhale, it happens as you're lifting the glutes slightly off the floor. And as you're exhaling is where you've gone into that opposite tilt, where you're pushing the tailbone down. So just a couple more times, just exploring how that feels through the pelvis, through the lower back. And then I want you to find a neutral position. So somewhere between those two extremes of the buttocks being lifted and the tailbone being lightly pushed into the floor. So almost as though you've found a neutral position somewhere between those two. And then remove the hands off of your pelvis, or sorry, off of your abdomen, just resting down by your side. And then I want you to pick up your right leg and then pick up your left leg. So we're going to bring our hands now onto the fronts of our thighs. So just palms are going to face onto the thighs. And all we're going to do is use the hands here just as a little bit of a buffer. So we're going to send our right ankle down towards the floor. And then you're going to pick that right leg back up and bring it back up to the right hand. And then do the same with the left. So these are called toe dips. So you're going to lift the leg back up. So go to the right side and then the left side. So you're just using those hands just as a little kind of barrier to bring the leg back to. So these toe dips can be really useful to help just activate through that lower abdominal area. They help to strengthen through the pelvis, the lower back. Just repeating one more on each side. And then we're going to take hold of the shins or the front of the knees. Bring the big toes together, but take the knees wide out to the side. So we're just starting to stretch into the inner groin area. And let's have a little rock across the back. So we're just rocking from side to side. You might even let the head roll with the knees as you rock from side to side. So you're just kind of rocking the whole of the back of the body from one side to the other. So we're going to stay in this shape with our legs and our feet, but bring the hands onto the fronts of your knees. And then we're going to circle your knees out to the side and then bring them back towards the center. So if you imagine you're drawing a circle with each of your knees and your legs are doing a little bit like a sort of breaststroke, or if you was to be sort of watching a frog in the water, how they would swim, that kind of circling action around. So just exploring and noticing how that feels through the hip joints. We're going to go in the other way if that feels okay. So you bring the legs up towards you, bring them together, and then circle them down and away from you. So you might use the hands quite a lot or use the arms quite a lot to guide the legs. You might prefer to do more of the guiding with the legs than with the arms. So just kind of choosing what feels good and right for you. Fantastic. Now, depending on how you're feeling today, I want you to hug your knees as close as you can in towards your body. And let's see if we can lift our head up towards our knees and curl ourselves up into a little ball. And then bring the head down onto any support. Bring the arms down by your sides. So you're going to rest them down by your sides. Palms are going to turn down. What I'd like you to do is as you inhale, you're going to extend your legs up to the ceiling. So straighten both your legs. And as you do that, stretch your arms over the top of your head. And as you exhale, bring the arms down by your sides and bend your knees back to the formation of where they started. So we're going to inhale as you extend the arms and extend the legs, stretching up to the ceiling. Exhale as we float them back down. Let's repeat that a couple more times. Just exploring how that feels. Notice how the back of the legs are feeling You might really feel this in the hamstrings or in the back of the ankles. You might find it more is around the upper body, around the shoulders, around the upper back. So just one more repetition of that sequence. And then bring your feet back onto the floor. If you've got anything underneath your head, I'm going to suggest lift your head up and just slide it out of the way so your head can be free to be on the floor. Just rest your arms down by your sides, palms down. Let's turn our head and look towards our left shoulder. So you're going to roll your head as far as you can, looking over your left shoulder, and then come all the way back up to the center, up to the ceiling, and then roll the head off towards the right-hand side. Come all the way back to the center. From here, we're going to start to lift into bridge. So we're going to do this with our breath, and then we're going to add some arm movement in as well, okay? So what I'd like you to do is as you inhale, push your feet into the floor and lift the hips gently up towards the sky. Take an out breath at the top. Take another in breath. You might want to lift a little bit higher. And then as you exhale, you're going to lower the spine back onto the earth. So again, inhale to lift. Exhale to pause. You might want to squeeze the glutes together as you do that. Inhale, maybe lift the pelvis a little bit higher. Exhale to lower the back and the glutes back onto the earth. So let's repeat that one more time without that support or without the arm movements to begin. And then what we're going to start to do is move one arm at a time. So as we lift the hips, we're going to draw our right arm all the way over the back of our head, stretch it up. Exhale to stay. Inhale, lift the hips and stretch that right arm away a little bit further. And then exhale, bring the right arm down, bring the hips down. Swap to the left arm, so lift the hips up. As you inhale, stretch the left arm overhead. Exhale to pause. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale to lower. So you're going to repeat that again on the right side. So this bridge sequence is really great to help strengthen through the lower body, but also this alternate arm lifting helps to just stretch through the side body, one side at a time. Sometimes we have a more dominant side that we might be lifting with, and this slightly eradicates the sort of times that we tend to sort of focus more on one side or rely on one side of the body more than the other. So once you've done an equal amount on both sides, we're going to take a pause, back on the earth. And it's up to you whether you feel like you want to stretch your legs away. We've had them in that formation for a while. You might want to stretch the arms up and do a full body stretch. You might want to hug your knees in towards yourself and have a little rock and a roll around. You might find actually you want to roll onto one side and just have a few recovery breaths on one side. So once you've come down, you've recovered, I want you to roll to one side. And then when you feel ready, we're just gently going to push ourselves up and we're going to bring ourselves up into a 4-point kneeling position. So knees roughly underneath the hips, wrists roughly underneath the shoulders. Spread through the fingers. We're going to tuck the toes under as well if you're able to. And then what we're going to do is take an inhalation here in a flat back position. And as we exhale, we're going to round our back towards the ceiling if we're able to. Inhale, come back to our flat back position, keeping those toes tucked under if you can. Exhale, round in the back again. Arch it towards the ceiling. Couple more times. So we've tucked the toes under just to help to stretch through the balls of the feet and start to work into the connective tissue of the feet in a slightly different way. It may also be that this just feels a bit uncomfortable, feels a bit crampy for you, so you can release them out if it doesn't feel comfortable for you. Come back to our neutral position. We're going to release the feet out of the toe tuck, so toes are pointing back behind you. We're going to repeat a similar sort of thing. So we inhale in this flat back position, but this time as we exhale, we're going to round our back and sink our bottom back onto our heels. As we inhale, we're going to float ourselves back up to that flat back position. This time as you exhale, you're going to round your back, but send your bottom off towards your left heel. So you'll feel a stretch across the side and back body. Inhale, come back to center into our flat back position. And then exhale, round the back and send the bottom off towards the right heel. So just repeating that a couple more times. Just going diagonally across the body. Just exploring how that feels to stretch through the side body into the side waist. If you feel maybe putting a little bit too much pressure through your wrists, you can always create knuckles with your hands. You can always do this on elbows rather than on your wrists as well. So again, we're going to repeat an equal amount going in those diagonal directions. And then come back to our center point and then take the bottom back towards the heels in a more regular way that we would normally do. So bring the big toes together, take your knees a little bit wider. Let's have a little roll again across the thighs, just moving from side to side. Fantastic, brilliant. We're going to pop ourselves back up to 4-point kneeling. As we come to 4-point kneeling, walk your knees back just underneath your hips again. We're going to turn our hands so our wrists are going to be facing towards each other. So slightly unusual way of coming into downward dog. We're going to tuck our toes under and push ourselves up into downward dog with our wrists facing each other. So lift one heel up, push the other heel down, just sort of walking through the back of the heels. If you're finding having the wrists turn just feel too uncomfortable for your shoulders, for your wrists, you can always come back to a more normal way of doing that, or come onto your elbows again to take some pressure off of the wrist. Fantastic. Come back onto your knees. Turn your wrists back to face, or fingers to face towards the front. From here, we're going to reverse the bottom back onto our heels. But this time, we're going to slide our right arm underneath our left armpit and turn our head so we're looking underneath that left little window. So just taking the pressure off of the wrists, taking the pressure off the shoulders for a little while. We're changing the pressure in the shoulders by having that right shoulder down, having the head turned. So just gently slide that left hand a little bit closer towards you just to help push yourself up. Come back up into our 4-point kneeling. And then we're going to bring the left arm underneath the right and sit back onto those heels again. Again, you might want to stretch that right arm forwards. Working into those shoulders and upper back in a slightly different way. Fantastic. So slide the hands, or slide the right hand back underneath your shoulder. Push yourself up. We're going to come up into 4-point kneeling, but bring our hands forwards a little bit further. So if you're sort of towards the top end of your mat, you might want to walk back a little bit. And then what we're going to do is take our bottom back towards our heels, but the bottom's not going to come all the way onto the heels because we've got the arms quite far forwards. And then what we're going to do is bring our weight forwards. We're going to keep our belly off the floor, but push your hips forwards. So you're just looking ahead and then gently push back onto the heels or in the direction of the heels. And then gently coming forwards, pushing those hips forwards. So we're going from a forward fold to a back bend, just exploring how that feels. Just once or twice more. So we've done quite a lot with the upper body, using these arms, using these shoulders. So what I'd like you to do now is come back, walk your hands back towards your knees a little bit more, tuck your toes under, push yourself into downward dog, and then we're going to walk our hands towards our feet, and we're going to stand towards the back end of our mat. So we're just hanging over the back end of our mats. Let those arms completely go. So give the wrists a little bit of a shake, give the hands a little bit of a shake. You might want to do some circles with the wrists or with the elbows. You might just want to let the arms just sort of hang forward and just have a bit of a loose, floppy sort of shake off. And then keeping the chin down, we're going to slowly begin to roll ourselves up, coming up to a standing position towards the back end of our mats. As we come towards the back end of our mats, bring our hands onto our hips. Let's step our right foot forwards, if that feels okay for you. We're going to wiggle that right foot forwards a little bit more, and then we're going to bend that right knee. We're going to turn ourselves so we're facing directly towards the front of our mat. Think about relaxing your shoulders, and then we're going to stretch our arms up towards the ceiling. So some of you might want to bring your hands together. Some of you might want to take the arms wider. Some of you might be quite comfortable with the arms sort of at shoulder distance apart. But I want you to really flex through those fingers, have a softness through your gaze, softness through your forehead. Think about pushing that left heel as firmly as you can down towards the front end, sorry, the back end of the mat. The right foot, you're pushing that firmly in towards the front end of your mat. That's warrior one position. So from our warrior one, we're going to keep our right knee bent. We're going to bring our hands down either side of that right foot, and then see if we can just step back into downward dog. From downward dog, feet roughly hip distance apart, and let's sway our hips from side to side. So before we were walking, this time we're just swaying side to side. And then begin to walk your hands towards your feet again, bringing those heels down onto the earth. And again, just letting yourself just hang over the legs. You might find you want to straighten one leg and bend one knee a little bit more as you sort of walk in on the spot. You might find actually the upper back or the neck or the back of the head just feels quite nice to just let the gravity just sort of take that head and let it go. And then come to some stillness. And we're slowly going to start to roll ourselves up to our stand position again. Coming all the way back up. Standing at the back of our mats, bringing our hands onto our hips. We're going to step our left foot forwards and then wiggle it forwards a little bit more. So just use the toes to edge it forward. Keep that right foot down, back heel down. Keep the toes pointing forwards. Bend the left knee. Let's draw the arms out to the chest, up to the sky, out to the sides, whatever feels good for you. Whatever feels strengthening, empowering, or if you're feeling a bit low of energy today, you might want to do something a little bit softer, a little bit easier in the body. So as you're breathing in, think about creating a sense of length from the soles of the feet up to the crown. As you're exhaling, as though you're sort of exhaling into the earth. So one more breath here. As we exhale, bring the hands either side of that left foot. We're going to step ourselves back to our downward dog position again. This time in our downward dog position, we're going to come onto our knees. We're going to step our right foot forwards between our hands and then come onto your fingertips. So what we're going to do here is just look slightly ahead, send your right knee towards your right toes, and then do the opposite. So walk your hands back. Think about straightening that right leg as you push that right heel away, lifting the toes up. We're going to walk forwards again, bringing the hands forward, pushing those right toes down, sending that right knee forwards, and then walk your way back, walking back with the hands, lifting those right toes, drawing them towards you so you're flexing through the back of that right leg. Let's do that one more time. Fantastic. We're going to walk forwards towards the top end of our mat. Tuck your left toes under, lift your left knee up. We're going to walk to the middle of our mat. And as we do that, we're going to turn our feet so all of our toes are pointing towards the long edge of our mats. Walk your hands off of your mats, bring them onto the floor in front of that long side of your mat, and then look between your arms and look between your legs and send your heels down to the earth and push your hips back behind you. So you're in a wide-legged downward dog position. If you need to bend your knees, please do if you're finding that's quite tight through the back of the legs. You might find by bending the knees, you get more of an extension through the back if your hamstrings are feeling really tight today. So from the hands being in front of you, you're going to walk them back onto your mat. And then we're going to start to walk towards the back end of our mat. So turn your left foot, so it's facing towards the thin edge of your mat, and then bring your right knee down onto the earth. So we're back in that position, exactly the same as where we was facing the front of our mats, but we're reversed here. So we're going to do the same thing. Send your left knee slightly forwards over your left toes, and then walk your hand back. Push your left heel into the floor. Draw your left toes towards your left knee and left thigh. Walk forwards again, bringing the weight into that left foot. Look up if you can. And then shift the weight back again. So you're just walking yourself back, straightening through that left leg. One more time as we walk forward. And we walk back. Fantastic. We're going to walk forwards back into where we're framing that left foot with our fingertips. We're going to tuck our right toes under, lift our right knee up, and then walk ourselves all the way back towards the middle. As we walk back towards the middle, what we're going to do here is turn our hands so they're facing away from ourselves. So turn your hands around and then walk them through your legs. Let your head hang, bend your knees if you need to. So you're just hanging between those legs, reaching those fingertips, maybe beyond your heels. Fantastic. Turn the hands back around. We're going to start our journey back towards the front of our mats again. So we're going to walk ourselves all the way around towards the front of our mat. So your right foot is facing towards the thin edge, and then you're going to swivel on your left toes. What I want you to do here is step your left foot, so your back foot, just step it out a little bit wider. Then what we're going to do here is bend our right knee, and we're going to see if we can lift ourselves up into a high lunge position. So stretch your arms up again. Remember those options. You can take them out to the side. If you would prefer to bring your hands onto your waist, you can do. You can bend your front knee. The lower you get to the floor, the easier your center of gravity is to deal with this. Look up or look ahead, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Use this left leg, push it back as firmly as you can. Okay, we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So we're going to transition in the same way that we have before. So bring the hands down. We're going to start to walk towards the long edge of our mat, turning the feet, walk all the way towards the back of the mat this time. So we're just passing that wide-legged downward dog. Left foot is flat on the floor. Swivel on your right toes. Maybe use your left thigh to help yourself up, but bring yourself up into that high lunge position. Again, you can stretch the arms up. You can take them out to the side. You can bring your hands to your waist, whatever feels comfortable for you. Get lower in that position. Push that back heel as firmly back as you can. So you're really using that right thigh to do a lot of the stabilizing here. Have a little smile on your face. Look up or look ahead. Brilliant. So when you feel ready, with your exhalation, bring your hands either side of your left foot. Walk yourself all the way back to the middle of our mats. So all of our toes are facing towards the long edge of our mat. And then what we're going to do is do one heel and toe in. So we're just going to bring the feet a little bit closer towards each other. Bring your hands onto your waist, and we're going to stand ourselves up. Fantastic. Let's just take a moment, take a little breather here. Connect with the feet, connect with a sense of length through the spine. So now we're in this upright position. I'm just going to show you the next thing that we're going to do, just so you can see it, because as soon as we start moving, everyone will start going different directions. So we're going to take our arms out to the sides. We're going to take an in-breath here, so we get in as tall and as long as we can. This is where the confusion always comes. We're going to take our right hand over towards our left, either shin, foot, or floor. We're going to look up towards that right arm above us. Then we're going to bring ourselves all the way back up, and we're going to repeat that on the opposite side. So as you're coming forwards, you might find you want to bend the leg that you're moving towards. If you find putting too much pressure through that abdominal area feels a bit too much, you can always put like some blocks or something to come to as well, so you're not compressing into that area quite so much. For some people, squeezing this area just doesn't quite feel right. So even if you just put something like this, you've got something to go towards, or a bolster in front of you. Okay, so we're going to stretch our arms out. So find your right hand, give it a little wiggle. You're going to take your right hand over towards your left leg. As you do that, bend your left knee, and that will aid you in that twisting. Look up to the ceiling. Let's bring ourselves back up. So we inhale as we come up. We're going to swap to the other side. So left hand's coming to right knee or right leg, right floor. Inhale to come all the way back up. Go to the first side again. So right hand, left leg. Inhale as you come back up. Exhale, left hand, right leg. Come back up. Repeat that a couple more times. They're just moving in and out. Exhaling as you go into the position. Inhale as you bring yourself out. Let's do one more on each side. Okay. So we're going to come into right hand to left leg. We're going to pause here for a couple of breaths. So as we pause, what you might start to feel you can do is draw your left arm back a little bit further. Think about breathing right down into the very depths of the lungs. Maybe you can use a support if you need it. You can be in a far more upright position. One more breath in, twist a little bit round to that left side if you can do, and then exhale to come out. Let's just bring the arms down for a moment. Just take a little bit of recovery. You realize how much energy you're using doing that. It doesn't look much, but it's a lot, isn't it? So when you're full ready, we're going to float the arms back out and we're going to twist, taking the left hand over towards that right leg or any support that you might want to put there. So you're twisting yourself around, looking up towards that right arm above you. See if you can twist around a little bit further, particularly on the exhalation. The exhalation is allowing you to have that little bit of extra space. Do one more here. And then exhale to release yourselves out. Fantastic. Bring the arms back onto your hips. Let's walk your feet inwards. As you walk your feet inwards, we're going to bring our feet. So actually, we're going to turn ourselves first of all. Let's turn towards the long edge of our mat. Oh, sorry, thin edge of our mats. We're going to come into a balance here. Okay, so a couple of different options. Hands on the hips to begin. We're going to slide, so find your right leg, slide your right leg back behind you. We're going to bend our left leg and start to take your left knee forwards. Again, you might find taking your stance a little bit wider. You might find a little bit more, putting a little bit more weight into that left foot. So leaning slightly forwards could be quite a good thing to do. Let's see how it feels. To see if we can lift our right leg off of the floor. So we're going to take our weight into our left leg. So if you're really wobbling, use a wall, put something in front of you to hold on to. If you're feeling really brave, you can bring your hands off of your waist and you could stretch them forwards. So imagine you're making a T shape with your body. Lift your back leg up, stretch your arms forwards a little bit more. Focus your gaze upon something ahead of you. One more breath in, one more breath out. Bring the hands onto the hips. Step your back foot, your front foot. Well done. Step back with the opposite leg now. So the left leg is stepping back. Get wider again. Start to think about bending into that front knee, taking that weight into that front foot. Lean slightly forwards and then see if you can float those left toes a little bit up. You might want to point them and send them back. Depending on how wobbly or how balanced you're feeling today, you might want to stretch your arms forwards. So again, you might imagine that you're creating almost like the shape of a T with your arms and with that left leg. One more breath. And then bring the hands to the hips. See if you can step your back foot to your front foot. Well done. Give everything a little shake. Remember to breathe. We're going to come down onto our mat. So we're going to get there just by going through really simple little sun salutation. So we're going to inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. As you exhale, separate the arms and fold yourself forwards over your legs. Hands on your shins or your ankles. Inhale to look up. Exhale, bend your knees, bring your hands onto the floor. Let's step your right leg back. Step your left leg back. So you're coming into downward dog position. Just taking a few moments here without any movement in downward dog, just stretching through the backs of the legs. You might want to bend your knees a little bit. And then when you feel ready, we're going to come down onto our knees. As we come down onto our knees, we're going to swing our legs around and bring them out in front of ourselves. Now, you might want to grab your block or something to sit on, like a cushion or a blanket. Stretch your legs ahead of you. We're going to take our right leg. We're going to take our right leg out to the side and then see if we can bend our right leg and bring the right foot back behind you. So it's almost kind of sitting by your hip, or you might want to take it out a little bit wider. Or I just need to get rid of a bit of cramp. So then we're going to turn ourselves so you're looking along your left leg. sit up as tall as you can. Reach the arms up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, lean forwards over that left leg. As you come forward, leaning over that left leg, just letting the body just begin to start to slowly soften. So we've got the knee in this outward rotation, the right hip in an outward rotation as well. Some of you might be able to bring your hands onto the floor. You might be able to hold your toes or hold the sole of your foot. Doesn't really matter where the arms get to. It's what you're doing to the left side of the back of the body and what it's doing in that right hip joint. So when you feel ready, we're going to push ourselves up. Keep your right leg exactly where it is, but we're going to do the same with our left leg. So we're going to bend our left knee and you're going to bring your left foot. So it's almost kind of on top of that right thigh. Then we're going to twist ourselves. So you're going to bring your right hand to your left knee. That's it, Sam. So that's it. Yeah. Take that other leg back. That's perfect. Yeah, great. So bring your right hand to your left knee. And then left hand's just gently going to place back behind you. And we're going to twist ourselves around. What some of you might end up doing is you might lift that right glute off of the support. So you're more on your left hip or you're more on your left side. Turn your gaze and look all the way over your left shoulder. So you're rotating your way all the way around, looking over that left shoulder. The higher you choose to lift that right glute up, the more pressure it will put through that left hip. So if you're finding that's uncomfortable, sit back so both of the glutes are back on the floor. So what this does is it really helps to gently twist, but also stretch through that right side of the hip joint. Then we're going to turn ourselves back towards the front. We're going to outstretch the legs. Maybe just have a little rub of the legs, just moving the knees, just kind of shaking off any tension, any tightness. We're going to do exactly the same thing on the left side. So your right leg is going to stay stretched out. Your left leg, you're just going to tuck it back behind you. Again, some of you might have the thighs quite close. Some of you might have the knee quite wide. Just kind of depends on what feels right. You want to be sitting firmly on both of your seated bones. Turn yourself so you're looking over your right outstretched leg. Reach the arms up to the ceiling. Take a big breath in. And then leaning over that right leg. But you might find sitting on a block might be a bit more comfortable for you. There's one just behind you. Yeah. Yeah. No. The weight's going more into your, yeah. So if you center yourself up a little bit more, you'll find it's a bit easier. So again, just allowing our breath just to allow ourselves to gently edge forwards. Brilliant. And then slowly start to lift yourself up. As you come up, we're going to now bend this right leg. So you're going to bring the right foot. That's almost kind of sitting on top of that left thigh. Right knee sort of pointing out towards that right-hand side. Left hand is going to come onto our right knee. So we're crossing over the body. And then just bringing your right hand back behind you. And then turn yourself and look over your right shoulder. So again, you've got an option here to maybe bring more weight into that right hand and lift that left glute upwards. By doing that, it will put more pressure into that right hip joint. This can be where sometimes coming off of the block actually feels more comfortable. Fantastic. Brilliant. So we're coming all the way back to our center point. What we're going to do here is release the legs out of this position, but I want you to bring the soles of your feet together, if that feels okay. Sit yourself up nice and tall. And then we're going to, if possible, lean into those legs. So some of you might just lean forward. Some of you might start to stretch forward. So you might bring your hands onto the floor. You might hold your feet. You might even want to open your feet up, a little bit like you're opening a book. So using your thumbs on the balls of your feet and just kind of opening that book up of the feet. So again, this will help to just gently release some of that connective tissue around the hip joints, around the back of the pelvis. Fantastic, brilliant. So we're going to sit ourselves all the way back up. We're going to cross our legs. As we cross our legs, we're going to take our arms back behind ourselves. If we're able to, interlace our hands together behind our back and squeeze our shoulder blades lightly together. Take a big breath in and get as tall and as long as you can. And then as we exhale, we're going to lean forwards, but keeping that little bit of resistance in the shoulder blade and in the upper part of the back. So we're just sort of leaning into those legs. Doesn't matter how far forward you come. Some of you might be really flexible and might get your forehead on the floor or something. As you can see, my body doesn't doesn't do that, but some people does. So we're going to lift ourselves up. We're going to do two things, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to unrelease your arms, unrelease your legs. We're going to cross our legs in the opposite way. So if it feels weird, you've done it right. Then we're going to go for a double weird feeling. We're going to interlace the hands behind our backs, and then we're going to shift all of the fingers either up or down one. So we're interlacing them in a way that we wouldn't normally interlace them. So again, if it feels weird, we've done it right. So again, sit up nice and tall. What may well happen here is you will be restricted in your movement. So just see how it goes. See how it feels. Keep squeezing those shoulder blades together. Notice how that feels in the hips, in the lower back. One more breath in and one more breath out here. Fantastic. Bring yourself all the way back up. Release the arms. I want you to put on anything that you need to allow yourself to feel warm and comfortable. So any socks, any jumpers. If you want to put a blanket around you, you are more than welcome to do that as well. We're going to do a breathing. Actually, no, we'll do relaxation first, and then we'll go into a breathing practice before meditation. So get yourselves ready for relaxation. You can lie on your back, you can lie on your side, you can sit rather than lie if you would prefer to do that. Remember, if you're at home, you can utilize pieces of furniture to lie on or sit upon. If you're in the studio, feel free to use a wall, a radiator, or something to lean against. So if you're choosing to lie, what you might want to do is put something behind the back of your head, behind the back of your legs. If you're choosing to sit, you might want to put something underneath you. But in all instances, what we want to try to do is just make sure that we've got a sense of lengthening or elongation through our spinal column. So we don't want to be sort of compressing the lungs and the visceral organs too much. So wherever you've chosen to now begin to do this relaxation, I want you to just allow yourself to take a few moments to just notice where you might be holding tension, within you, or where you might be holding tension around you. Noticing if there's tension held maybe through the toes or through the feet. There might be tension held through the ankles, the heels. There might be tension held in the legs, maybe in the lower leg, maybe around the knees, maybe the upper leg, maybe around the hips or the pelvis. There might be held tension around the lower part of the abdomen, maybe around the lower back. There might be tension around the mid-torso area, so the upper abdomen, the lower part of the rib cage, maybe in your mid-back. There might be held tension around your shoulder blades or your upper back. Maybe around your chest or breast area, your collarbones. There might be held tension in your fingers or your thumbs. Maybe in your hands, in your wrists, in your lower arms, your elbow, maybe in your upper arms. Maybe in your armpit. Maybe there's held tension through the sides of the torso, around the waist, the ribs, or maybe up into the shoulder. Noticing any held tension through the neck, the throat, through the face, the forehead, through the sides of the head, the back of the head. Maybe there's held tension at the top of the head. You're just allowing yourself some time to just be with the body. Be with the fluctuations, the sensations, the experiences of your body at this time. Maybe noticing the different temperatures you can feel. Maybe noticing the temperature of skin that's maybe feels the warmest to you. And there might be areas that are sort of buried underneath clothing or blanket. And also noticing maybe the coolest part of your skin. Maybe an area that feels exposed. Maybe the fingers, maybe the tip of the nose, maybe around the back of the neck. And staying with that sensation of temperatures, we're going to turn our awareness to the breath. And notice the different temperatures that you experience as you breathe. Maybe you're breathing through the nose, maybe you're breathing through the mouth, maybe a combination of both of those ways of breathing. You might notice there's a difference between the temperature of your in-breath and the temperature after your body has used the breath and is being breathed out. Maybe it feels cooler as you breathe in, and it feels warmer as you breathe out. I'm just going to give you a few moments just to be with the body, to be with the breath. No expectations of needing to do anything here at this time other than just be aware, just be present. Maybe for you today, you'd be better off focusing on experiences happening outside of you. So you might choose to be aware of the sounds all around you. So if you chose to lie on your back or lie on your side, as you begin to feel ready, I'd like you to begin to allow yourself to move enough to join us in a seated position. So taking your time, there's no rush. If you've been sitting and you want to change your seated position, you are more than welcome to. We need to be sitting comfortably for about the next sort of 12 minutes or so. If you do want to lean on something, again, if you want to put cover over you, maybe you're feeling a little bit chilly, you're more than welcome to. We're going to touch our thumb to our first finger using this mudra, which is said to be a mudra that helps with just feeling grounded and stable, the chin mudra. Allowing however you're sitting to facilitate your spine to feel taut. Again, just checking in anywhere you might be holding tension. So we're going to spend a few moments doing point-to-point breathing. So the 2 points we're going to breathe from and to are going to change as we move through the body. But we're going to start off with the first point being the base of our body, so our bottom and the back of our leg. And we inhale up to the crown. And as we exhale from the crown back to the very base of the body, so almost back to the floor. So inhale from the base to the crown. Exhale from the crown to the base. Inhale from the base to the crown. Exhale from the crown to the base. Inhale from the base to the crown. Exhale from the crown to the base. Inhale from the base to the crown. This time as we exhale, exhale down to your navel center. Inhale from your navel center to your crown. Exhale from the crown to your navel center. Inhale from the navel center to the crown. Exhale from the crown to the navel center. Inhale from the navel center to the crown. Exhale from the crown to the navel center. Inhale from the navel center to the crown. Exhale from the crown to your chest center. Inhale, chest center to crown. Exhale, crown to chest center. Inhale, chest center to crown. Exhale, crown to chest center. Inhale, chest center to crown. Exhale, crown to chest center. Inhale, chest center to crown. Exhale from the crown to the throat center. Inhale, throat center to crown. Exhale, crown to throat center. Inhale, throat center to crown. Exhale, crown to throat center. Inhale, throat center to crown. Exhale, crown to throat center. Inhale, throat center to crown. Exhale, crown to eyebrow center. Inhale, eyebrow center to crown. Exhale, crown to eyebrow center. Inhale, eyebrow center to crown. Exhale, crown to eyebrow. Inhale, eyebrow center to crown. Exhale, crown to eyebrow center. Inhale, eyebrow center to crown. Exhale, crown to eyebrow. Taking a pause and letting the breath find its own natural balance, its own journey and direction. So we're going to do another breathing practice that starts off between our nostrils and our eyebrow center, our eyebrow center and our nostrils. So inhale from nostrils to eyebrow center, exhale eyebrow center to nostrils, nostrils to eyebrow center, eyebrow center to nostrils. So just repeating that a few more times on your own. We're then going to interrupt the flow using our right hand. We're going to use our thumb and our third finger to either block our left or our right nostril. So if you bring your right hand up to your face, just rest your thumb and your third finger on the outside of your nostrils and resting your first and second finger just at your eyebrow center. Or if it feels uncomfortable, just dropping those two fingers into the palm of the hand instead. So we're going to breathe in through both nostrils, so nostrils to eyebrow center. Block the right and breathe out gently just through the left. Breathe in through the left nostrils to eyebrow center. Block the left, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Block the right, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Block the left, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Block the right, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left. Block the left, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Block the right, breathe out through the left. Remove the hands away. Go back to just breathing nostrils to eyebrow center, eyebrow center to nostril. So we're going to do exactly the same thing, but we're just going to start on the right hand side this time. So bring your right hand up to the nose again. When you feel ready, breathe in through both nostrils. Block the left, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right, block the right, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left, block the left, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right, block the right, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left, block the left, breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right, block the right, breathe out through the left. Breathe in through the left, block the left, breathe out through the left. Remove the right hand back to chin mudra. Just go back to now a natural breath. Just giving ourselves just a few moments here just to let the energetic and nervous system settle. Relax in the body. Tuning into how this breathing practice might have supported or affected the mind, the thinking, the moods, or the emotional state that you may be arrived with today. Taking this opportunity to acknowledge what you're taking away from this practice today. Those reminders you may have needed, those revelations of things that may be surprising, those constant reminders to ourselves to look after ourselves and take it. With the recognition of what we're taking from this practice in our minds, in our body, in our energetic systems. Let's join our hands together into Hamanjali Mudra and close the practice with 3 Oms and 3 Shanti. So taking a breath in collectively and a breath out. A breath in, ready to chant or listen. Oh. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Just raise your hands so your thumbs are resting upon your eyebrow center to acknowledge our wisdom. Bring your hands down to rest them at the center of your chest to acknowledge our heart. And then release your hands and bring them down onto the earth. Just taking a moment just to connect with the earth. Acknowledging the ways that we've connected with ourselves, with each other, and how we have connected with a practice that has been supporting, nourishing, and helping guide people for thousands of years. So when you feel ready, just gently lifting yourself up and bringing yourself round whenever you feel ready. So those breathing practices can be quite powerful. They can really help to change and shift our mood, our emotional states. They can help to find clarity sometimes. They can help to just bring us down when we're feeling quite hypervigilant. So they're really useful things I would suggest. Maybe practicing on a regular basis if you can. They're really, you can do them anywhere. No one really needs to know that you're doing them necessarily, But yeah, they can make a huge difference. But thank you, everybody, today. Really nice to be here with you all. Thanks, everybody online as well. Nice to be here with you all.